Hello adventurers, welcome to today's episode. So what are we looking at? Well, in today's episode we're going to be looking at the magical world of Heroclix miniatures by the toy manufacturer WizKids and how they can be used in your tabletop miniature games. So, okay, brief primer for those that don't know. So Heroclix are a range of collectible miniatures that have been around for decades. We're talking 20 years at this point, easily. Early 2000s, late 90s, WizKids started producing these. And they started primarily for superhero licenses, so DC and Marvel Comics. If there is a hero that exists in the comics, chances are, even with the most obscure ones, there is a Heroclix model for it, right? They all come pre-painted and they all come on these little slotter base, twisty turn things that are for the Heroclix game. I've played it a couple of times, but to be honest, it's a bit strange and I've never quite gotten into it. But the reality is this is a untapped market of models that are pretty perfect for tabletop games, whether that's D&D or Warhammer or you name it. Once the paint's stripped off and you've repainted them or even modeled them a little bit, they just fit right in. And I suppose ultimately that's what today's video is about. It's about shining a light on something that more often than not just gets ignored and forgotten about in our constant sort of push for new models and 3D printed technology and all this. We forget about the stuff that's already out there, and you can get HeroClix models for pennies. Now, some of the pitfalls for trying to get the paint off these, because you're going to want to strip the paint off. So, nail polish remover, methylated spirits, as you'd have seen in my previous videos, it's not going to cut it, it's not going to work. We need the big stuff, we need the acetone. So, what I have here is a nice new batch of HeroClix models. Some like this fantasy archer guy, he's going to need a bit of work to fit in. But as you can see from the paint job, especially on these, it's not good. More often than not, they are factory made and factory painted. So it is thick, it is glopped on, and once it's removed, a lot of detail of the under model is actually revealed to the harsh light of day. But what you're going to want to use to get the paint off is acetone. And acetone works like nobody's business. But some safety, oh my goodness, wear gloves, make sure you've got water on standby. This stuff will strip the paint off of your crafting mat and it will dissolve these models if they're left in for too long. But as you can see from this rogue character here from MageKnight, but this is the reality. There is some wonderful detail in these old classic sculpts that honestly are just dying for a good paint job. And that is what this is about, because I think it is a massive missed opportunity that people just overlook because they think, oh, look at those ugly painted models. Oh, they're just children's toys. We don't want those in our serious wargame hobbies. I mean, look at this dwarf warrior. He is covered in wonderful molded detail, right? From the thickness of his beard, his little pudgy face, to those wonderful horns, that great double-headed axe, and that wonderful power pose that he's got going on there. And that's the thing. A lot of the MageKnight fantasy models don't really require any additional work. You have to try and get rid of some of the mold lines, but the options there if you do want to kind of modify them to really make them fit your forces. So what I'm going to show, and this is the thumbnail, it's these drow models that I've painted up for D&D. So the dark, underdark elves with, dark skin and light hair and so on. But just simple conversions like using a dark elf witch whip arm here for this sort of sorceress, evil sorceress character, or in the case of this assassin, just going completely over the top, changing the arms, the head, the bow on the back, adding the little vial on the side. You can go just completely overboard with using HeroClix and MageKnight miniatures as a base to build up from. And honestly, I encourage it because there are so many wonderful models out there that just get completely ignored, just completely written off. And as I say, they are cheap. They are cheap, they are easy to work with, and They are easy to paint. So here we have a selection of finished drow that I've done for, again, my games of D&D, from the sorceress to the rogue character with almost no or no conversion work at all, up to the sort of musician bard like character with his horn and the blade in the dark assassin there. You can see there's some wonderful untapped potential in these models, and it doesn't break the bank and it doesn't take a lot of effort, and I cannot advocate for you guys to go out and use Heroclix models to do this. A bit of sand on the base, a simple paint job, and painting drow is a fun one because you think that the dark skin would kind of lead you away from doing dark like leathers or anything for the clothes. Honestly, it doesn't. It kind of works because the really bright, vibrant white hair that they have leads itself to these wonderful focal points that you look at and go, oh, this all works well together. They honestly, these were quite a breeze to paint up, and it's not hard. It's not hard to model these things. It's not hard to customize them or make them fit into the games that you play. The whole purpose of this video is to raise awareness of using Heroclix and to talk about my experiences modifying them. And like I said, I've had a blast. But I want to hear your experiences. I want to know what successes you've had modifying Heroclix miniatures or other toys, other sort of like bargain basement challenges for your games of D&D or Warhammer Fantasy. What diamonds in the rough are there out there just waiting for people to discover? Because honestly, I think there's quite a lot that we just overlook. As always, if you found this video helpful, by all means leave a like, a comment, a subscribe. As always, videos coming out weekly, so stay tuned and see what's coming up next week. Yeah, to be honest, the engagement's been great. I've been having some wonderful comments from people. It always gets me that the meme videos do so much better than the craft videos. Even though I spent like a fraction of the effort to make those, but such is life. Thank you all for watching, my friends, and I will see you in the next episode. Goodbye.